2017, Winter 1, problem number 3, the internet. 8 marks, big one. So what information does a TCP IP packet contain? Okay, for this one, again, I think I mentioned before, try to avoid rote memorization, and try to link your knowledge to other concepts that you are familiar with in order for you to be able to answer questions quickly, effectively, and have it easier on your mind. So for this, how I like to think of it is if you, TC packet, even if you forget what IP address or TCP means, you kind of have the idea like you're sending something, a packet, like a mailing packet. So if you're mailing something like a letter, what do? Well, first you have to put your address, and then you have to put the sender's address. Let's say Santa. Postal code, North Pole, postal code, HO, 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 and then you put up a stamp. So, and then you put your letter inside. So that's 3 things that we could do. 1, 2, 3. So 1 is information or data. 2 would be your receiving, sending. No, sender. Sender address. And 3 would be receiving address. So for me, that's how I would answer it. I would just recall that, well, packet, what does a packet contain? And then visualize a letter. And then that's how I would easily be able to study, memorize, and answer this question. Oh, good to also, if you send something through the Canada Post and to address to Santa Claus, North Pole, postal code HO, ho ho ho, you will get a reply back. Now 2, suppose you are sending an email which is broken up into packets for transmission over the internet. State whether each of the following is true or false. True or false questions. Remember what we said about true or false? Try to answer both in both true and false angles. All the packets are sent along the same path to the destination. Okay. This goes back to that class that we had where we had the number route. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so they're like, what path does the data take? Is it this way? Is it this way? This way? You know, what factors might approach it? So, and just intuitively, you can say there's a lot of ways I can get to a destination, be it through a car, either the highway or the scenic route, or if I was taking mailing something, it could go through Amazon, it could go through a FedEx, and go UPS. So just intuitively, you should be leaning towards false. And then data-wise, you should have remembered this class that we had where we had these nodes, and we were discussing, well, what factors would determine if you went this way or you went this way? What happened if you went this way, or would it go back and forth and things like that? So false. The packets may arrive out of order. Let's see the next one. Packets may not arrive at all. So these ones, I kind of go back to that exercise we had in the in-person exercise we had in class, where we sent people around the room to give notes to each other. And then we found out that some of the, if it wasn't a good algorithm, some of the messages would be out of order, and some of the messengers would not deliver the packets at all. So for this one is true. Okay. Oh, domain name hierarchy. Should be fun. Add the domain stats ubc.net to the above representation. Okay, so for this one, for some reason, I had this impulse just to draw a line from here to here for some reason, just because I saw already there was net, UBC, and stats. But that is wrong. You don't want to do that. You want to follow the hierarchy that is set out in the question. So stats.ubc.net. So net, So we're going to go backwards, though. Even though we read it from stats UBC, when we're writing it, doing the hierarchy, we go backwards. So net UBC dot stats. And you're like, oh, why? It's already here. But then that's related to a different domain. So technically, it could be on a different computer, totally different server for that information. If you were maybe started from CA rather than net. So stats.ubc.net. Check, check, check. Which domain is more related to statsarts.ubc.ca? Is it this one? Or is it this one? Stats.ubc.net or science.ubc.net? And then first you would think, oh, okay, well, stats. They both have stats, you know, but let's take a closer look. Okay. The top level domain is CA. Both have CA and both have ubc.ca. And they split here. They both share the same node. Science and arts is the same node. So for me, it has more in common with this hierarchy than it does with this hierarchy. So that's how I got to that realization. So just try to go up the tree and see which stems and which branches they have most in common, which would be, that's art, it'd be science, and then arts. If that makes sense. Let's make it a little bit neater. Different color. Okay, science, you say CA, UBC, science, and then CA, UBC arts, stats. So these seem to have more in common than this one all by itself. So that's why I would write science.ubc.ca. Okay, give an example of a top-level domain shown in this graph. Okay, top. So top-level domain, you're looking for these ones right here. CA, com, education, or .net.